Good morning. My name's Kyle. I'm the Pentographer, and I'd like to thank you again for spending some time with me today. So today I wanted to talk about buying knockoff brands. So we all know that there's a ton of brands out there for fountain pens. I say we all know, but that's the case. There are a ton of brands out there, right? A lot of them are, there's Japanese, there's German, there's probably Russian. There's a good number of brands out there. Chinese, everything. So the question comes up, hey, I bought this Lamy Safari, but it seems weird. Like it seems like it doesn't write very well, or there's a detail on it that looks off, and I'm not really sure what's going on. Maybe it doesn't go together well, or the converter doesn't fit, or whatever the case may be. Some people get duped by this because there are actually knockoffs of various pens. Lamy Safari is a common one, but there are others. And so a question arises, is it okay to purchase knockoff brands knowingly? Maybe I would say. Unknowingly, that's a different ballgame. You didn't realize you got duped. Maybe you see a Lamy Safari on clearance or something like that on Amazon, and it turns out it's not a real Safari kind of thing. But is it okay to buy knockoff brands? Well, there's two threads to this. There's a knockoff brand, which is very clearly a knockoff of an actual branded pen. And then there's, let's call them copies, but like rebranded copies. So I'll give you an example. We talked about the first one, right? It's just a straight knockoff of another pen. I would argue that in that case, no, you probably shouldn't buy it. Unless you're doing like a comparison or a video or something like that, and you're trying to like educate people on that fact, the fact that these things exist, then sure. Then maybe that's an instance where maybe it would be okay to get one, to be able to educate other people when not to, kind of thing. The second instance, though, is something that I have already answered for myself, but some people don't like it. I haven't met anybody yet, but the Majon A1, for example, is basically a direct copy of the Pilot Vanishing Point. Now, the Pilot Vanishing Point, its patent ran out years ago. Like, it's an old pen. It's from the 70s or something like that. So, its patent expired a long time ago. So, there's really no rule saying that a company can't take that design and modify it or rename it or whatever. So, I've already answered that question for myself. I'm okay with those ones. And the reason I'm okay with those ones is because you've just taken a several $100 pen and you've reduced it down to 15 to 30 bucks. So it's really hard, and for similar quality. The only, the missing factor is the golden nib, which if you really want one, you can buy those. Like just the nib unit, you can get that. So it's not that big of a challenge to upgrade those pens. Now, would you want to? I don't know. That's up to you. But I don't see a problem with that because it's making that design, which is otherwise, especially in Canada or Western economies, or well, really any economy. If you don't have the money to spend on a $200 pen, then you can probably get a $30 pen. And if you can't get the $30 pen, you can get the $15 Jinhao one, or the $10, I guess American $10. Like, it just makes it so much more accessible. It's so much easier to actually get it. If you want that particular type of fountain pen, And that's not a super common design. Like, there's not a ton of capless designs. There are certainly other designs out there, but not that many. Then that price point suddenly makes it viable for you. So in that particular case, I have a hard time arguing against it, because if you want that pen, you can get that pen. If you have to save up for it, you can save up for it. If you want to get one for my giveaways, then you just have to participate in the giveaways, and eventually you'll probably win. But I have a tough time arguing against that one, because they're useful and they're affordable for normal people who can't afford a $200 pen. I think I have one pen in my whole lineup that's in that range, and it's a metal Pilot Falcon. That is the one pen I have in that range, and I think I need to get the nib tuned on it, for God's sake, But I was able to afford that one pen at a time when I was still making good money, and we had been kind of free of most of our financial obligations at that point, so I was able to invest in that pen. Now, I'm back to Mahjong. You know what I mean? That's kind of how it goes. Sometimes you're making lots, and sometimes you're not making so much. So, but yeah, so that's sort of the gist of it. It's people struggle with that one. Some people are okay with buying knockoff brands. They just want a cheaper pen. Some people are not okay with it, because you should be giving your money to the real company. I see both of those arguments. In the case of direct knockoffs, I think that's the case. You should probably just buy, again, except in the niche circumstances where you're trying to educate an audience or create content of some sort. I wouldn't be buying those. I'd be buying the actual pens. I'm going to buy a real Safari. I'm not going to buy a knockoff Safari just because it's cheaper. But in the case of rebranded pens, or I'm saying rebranded, but they made the pen, they did the designs on them, that hashed fish scale pattern, or the lines. There's one that has lines all down at facets, I guess. It's kind of a different thing. It's not really a different thing. It's just kind of a rebranded version, cheaper version of an older pen. So I don't know. I don't think it's a problem, because even though it's a Chinese brand, and but they didn't knock anything off, right? They're not advertising a Pilot vanishing point. They're not advertising that level of quality. They're saying this is our version of the pen. It's the Mahjong A1 or the Jinhao 10 or whatever name it is. They're not hiding anything. It's very clearly that design, but they've named it something else. They're not trying to steal Pilot's name, Pilot's brand. They're not riffing off of that brand at all, other than the fact that it's just a design that's, the patent fell out. So, it's kind of a different thing, just because of that added level of complexity to it. But to me, that's not as big a deal, because again, they're not trying to sell you a Pilot vanishing point. They're selling you a Mahjong A1. You know going in that it's not going to be the same level as a Pilot vanishing point. You know it's not going to be, a $200 pen. It's going to be a $30 pen. And in a lot of ways, it doesn't even show. The build quality is still fantastic. The paint comes off. Oh no, repaint your pen, I guess. I've got my little everyday carry, which I found spots for it now. My little everyday carry pen, man, she's looking rough. A lot of the paint's gone now. But I carry it regardless. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me that the paint's kind of chipping off. It's or rubbing off. It still works. It doesn't bother me none. And if I want to make it brand new, look brand new again, then I'll paint it. I'll find a way to paint it so that it lasts a bit, and we'll go from there. But yeah, some people still don't like that, still don't prefer that. Again, I don't care. I think it makes a good design really accessible to normal people, so I can justify it pretty easily. So I guess I could say that too, because I'm giving them away for free basically. So there's that too. But yeah, so that's kind of the knockoff pen scenario. Is it all right to buy knockoff brands? Yes and no. Depends on your situation. But at any rate, that's it. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel. Helps me grow. Helps me increase my, influence of fountain pens. Everywhere. And share the video if you found some value in it. And that's it. That's all I got. I'll see you guys in the next video. And as I always say, may your pen always be inked.